Hi there, I'm Manise Kavanagh. I am the founder of the Positive Energy Workplace Initiative, the author of Contagious Culture, Contagious You, the creator of the IEP methodology, and CEO of Active Choices. And if you're new to me, welcome. Glad to have you here. If you've known me for a long time or you've been following this work for a long time, it's great to have you here. And I'm excited to have you continue to be in this conversation. So today I want to talk about the power of approaching culture from the inside out with your employees versus from the outside in. Here's the deal. As the chief people officer, as the chief talent officer, learning and development officer, as the CHRO, as the executive, as the leader in your organization who's been mandated to really create positive, sustainable culture transformation and to create positive, sustainable leadership in your organization. If that is your role as that leader, you have a lot of different ways and a lot of noise about how you can actually do that. We've been doing this work for 22 years now. We've worked with many, many different organizations, many people in your position. And what we notice is there's a lot of different ways that you can spend your time, your money, your energy to actually start to create culture change. But what we also notice is that despite all the resources, time, energy, money, all of it that companies spend on more training and development, more policies, more processes, more meetings to talk about culture, despite all of that, Forrester Research has just come out with a study saying that despite all that, culture and engagement continues to go down. And in fact, in 2024, we're going to see an even bigger dip in people's energy around culture, even bigger dip. So 2023, I think, was pretty tricky for a lot of companies. 2024, it looks like there's going to be an even bigger dip where people are exhausted. They're overwhelmed. They're tired of playing whack-a-mole. They're tired of all the different changes. They're doing the hybrid work. They're all the different pieces that we're all very much aware of, the world, basically, like all stuff's happening in the world. People are really, really tired. So there's going to be an even bigger dip. So despite all the work that you've been doing to change culture, to up-level leadership, to do all that stuff, it's not necessarily making a huge dent. So it might be different in your organization. If it is, that's fantastic. I'd love to talk to you. If it's not, I'd still love to talk to you because there's some reasons why it's probably not making the dent that you want it to make. So what we notice at Active Choices is that when we go into work with companies, often they are taking an outside-in approach. And what that means is in order to create culture transformation, they are doing, training and development for their people. They're doing, for lack of a better word, I'm just going to say karaoke nights, culture bonding activities, things to get people more united. They're doing, get-togethers. They're doing lots and lots of conversations about culture. They're doing a lot of talking about how important culture is. In fact, in their town hall meetings, a lot of times these companies are talking about how important culture is, how important people are, but they're not necessarily following it all the way through. So they're going outside in. And here's the deal. When you go outside in, at best, it is a temporary fix. And at worst, you're often creating more damage than help, than usefulness. So let's talk about creating more damage. How can that actually be creating more damage? So here's the deal. If you are spending time, energy, and money, and you're talking about how important culture is, and you're sending people to trainings, but they're not handling the change of how they show up, if they're not taking an inside out approach and they're just doing the new skills or they're going through the motions, you're, again, at best, going to be not getting your best results possible, but at worst, often you're doing more harm than good. And what that often looks like is a company will hire some kind of leadership development or communication training or some kind of training. They put the company through it. They put their workforce through it. The workforce does it. The leaders do it. But the problem is they took an outside-in approach. They didn't take an inside-out approach. And so when the leaders come out of that training, they're not actually embodying the right intentions, energy, and presence and purpose that is necessary from the inside out, that's necessary to actually create sustainable, honest, congruent culture change. Now, at ACI, at our organization, we've been studying this for 22 years. I've been working with business leaders and organizations and human beings in all different kinds of industries who care very much about culture transformation and having healthy companies for 22 years. And what we have found is that taking outside in approach, it just doesn't work. It's got to be inside out. You've got to make it so that the intentions, energy, presence, purpose, and actions of your employees are in alignment. Your employees, your leaders, everyone. And it doesn't matter that the hierarchy in the company. We can be talking about your CEO. We can be talking about your greeter in the lobby. You want to be addressing the intentions, energy, and presence of every single person in your workforce so that they can actually show up with the right energy and intentions and presence in order to use those skills correctly. So that's what I mean by when I say it's got to be an inside out approach. If you do outside in and you're just doing the skills of, for example, if I learned how to do feedback and I now have put my whole team through feedback training, but my team shows up exhausted, they're not present, their intentions aren't clean, they have no purpose around it, then they're going to be doing that feedback model beautifully, but their IEP is not right. So in the IEP methodology, which is our proprietary methodology that we've been doing with organizations for many, many years, we take an inside out approach to ensure that your people get that inside out element to actually what they're doing. Because here's the secret. The secret is this. You can teach anybody any skill. You can teach anybody any skill. They could be amazing at their skills. Okay. But if you can make sure that the IEP is right, if you can make sure the intentions, energy, and presence, that they're doing it from the inside out, if you can make sure that's congruent, that's solid, then those skills become that much more powerful. And if those skills, for some reason, they make a mistake with the skills, they don't do the skills right, they have an error with their team, whatever, it's a lot easier to work through because the intentions, energy, and presence underneath it were honest. So we want to really be looking at how are you creating culture change. And if you're doing it from the outside in with policies and posters and things and gimmicks and swag and training and all that good stuff, that may be fine and dandy, but I want to invite you to start thinking about why is it in your organization that you're not hitting the sustainable change that you want to be hitting? And 9 times out of 10, when we meet with companies and we really get in there, we find it's because the inside out approach is missing. So we're going to be talking more and more about this year. If you are an executive that is responsible for culture change, leadership, sustainable leadership, healthy leadership, if you're responsible for that, I would like to talk with you. I'd like you to be in this conversation. We hold monthly executive forums where we actually invite executives from different organizations to talk about different topics, just depending on what I see happening in our conversations with different companies. So you're welcome to join that. We'll make sure that we include that. In fact, let's go ahead and put, here you go. You can sign up right there if you'd like to join us for one of our forums. Additionally, I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation with you to talk about what's happening in your organization. Happy to meet with your executive team to have a very real, honest, let's create real sustainable change conversation and what might be getting in the way. So take care of yourself. We look forward to seeing you soon, and Happy New Year to you. Bye-bye.